Here it is. Just a whole bunch of letters, one after another. It's not crazy long, thankfully, and Ætérnal has included some very handy notes. The online dictionary is awesome, although it doesn't help you know all of the affixes, which can be all over the place. I feel good about the progress that I've made so far. It's not enough to interpret much so far, but enough to feel like I can do this. Or at least I think I'm gonna get enough that I can at some point go, okay, time to look at the words that I know what they are and do a little poetic interpretation and turn it into something that makes sense. Gotta go to bed and go back to work tomorrow, and then I'll be back at it. Started off the morning with a pancake breakfast and just trying to understand the way that affixes stack together and coalescence works so that I can decipher some of these holdout words. I have flown through all the bits that I have found to be easy and labeled most of the words with some kind of meaning. This is Sunday, so I have today and I have tomorrow. I'm really hoping that I can finish up with the Ultrafrench today, and then I will have tomorrow to translate into Meoka, which I think one day is fine for. I know how that one works. Translating this language has been like a roller coaster ride because I'm constantly going, oh, there it is, that's the answer. Wait, no, that's got the circumflex, not the accent, or vice versa. There are so many things that are almost exactly the same, except for one diacritic or one letter, often just a diacritic. I'm frequently excited thinking I've found the answer and then realizing, oh no, that's not the same. I'm still having a good time, but it's a little bit more in the mode of like, I want to figure this out. There are a lot of tables. These are not the kind of tables where you can like take a glance and absorb what the vibe is and then be able to recognize these things in the text. It's a little too irregular, a little too unpredictable, a little too variable. There's no like pattern of sounds that's like super easy to sort of latch onto. I had some success thanks to opening the grammar in my browser instead of in preview. The search in the preview app doesn't like diacritics or apostrophes. So that means that Ultrafrench is not easy to search in that app. So I opened it in the browser and I'm having a much better time finding stuff. I've got a possible sentence written down. We'll see, I might change it. I have reached a milestone. I do not know how many of these words I have correctly assigned meaning to, but I have assigned a meaning to all of the words. I'm going to try to make sensical phrases. I have a text in English that is almost sentences. The thing is, as far along as I am in the list of participants, I cannot really have any expectation of this making a lot of sense. However, I'm certain that Ætérnal used grammatical Ultrafrench. Therefore, these sentences should be sentencing a little better than they are. That's where I'm at tonight. Gonna hit the sack. All right, it's my final day and there's a deadline. There are definitely a few oddball phrases that I don't know what they're supposed to say. For example, the vine, then next of these, toward whichever of those I want. I'm definitely missing something. Or it came to Ætérnal just like that. There's definitely a part of me that wants to dig back into the Ultrafrench gloss and try to really figure out exactly what I'm missing and refine. But if there's one thing I learned from going to college, it's that sometimes you just have to call it a day and leave enough time for the next steps. So I think I'm gonna just forge ahead with what I've got. One thing that I definitely have not figured out is what the numbers are doing here. For a second I was like, well, it could just be describing the word that they follow. Like 3 days, right? That makes sense, except that day was singular, and that's why I was like, what is 3 doing here? Unless you're talking about the sun and the moon and the day, but then why wasn't it and the sun and the moon and the day? I did revisit a few phrases and tweak the way that I had interpreted the text based on the gloss that I did previously. I think I found a few little improvements, but it's still kind of a weird text, and there's really no way to know like how much of that is because I'm like the 19th person to get my grubby little hands on this thing. Now I am forging ahead with a translation into Meoka. I have done a gloss, I think for all but one of the lines, and I have started like putting in an actual translation based on those glosses. So after all that, I sent the resulting text off to Jake, and I can't wait to see what Jake did. And I also can't wait to see what the text I got was supposed to say. Here is the whole text in English that I translated out of Ultrafrench. 3. The day of the sun and the moon. You are obliged to the people once you fly along the meadow because of the grains y'all have then once sold. Once the blades of grass have died, the weight of the vendor's booth will be contrasted against the weight of the knowledge. I want the next vine toward whichever of those. Go, the salt and I have been. May the river be the only one until the sun and the moon. Go away from the northern cave using warm waters. 2. Once we march along a trail to create longing above a tree-like road beyond the ancient river. The wisdom says to the child, when the sun and the moon have used magic to repair my torn pouch, I had wanted you not to go inside in vain. The library says to the child, the wisdoms start over, you bask in the sun, then they eat the small meal. My pouch causes the sun and the moon to begin to obtain hope inside. He satisfies to oust, once torn away from the cloth, the wisdoms and I begin. You give of failure. The child says to wisdoms, of the bags of medicine, I say, growth lacks wisdom's purpose, for the bags are dear after a year. And finally, the text in Meoka that I sent along to Jake. Ma, nava jidapaya u yovapaya. Teobi sa didwosh dine hleshea sa si a sevafe ave poagioya su beoboash. Ehlu zozitoya feshwash ise usya bubash nikapaya u bubash lusishapaya. Azelo ujoyish zase balase imbapaya. Tayi hioto lo u oshwa. Mikosi tozazi soya, deis hia jida uyova. Tayi ova omajafe damuja hlutwim zutaji. Shi, dami yusobia lukafe, nihia fenash sin tsuvafe peakija, ushu mikosife dokukuni. Liskusho atoshpoli, tobelagu hla e myoto jida uyova. Omjuim shuva gurjija lasa, tobelagu, lo azea apioto ale yiho sa alja kafe. Tawi hopa atoshpoli, paitsibi liskushwo etlujida lose sa, ise lose pelifa. Shuva lasa eavazi atsibi apomina jida uyova, afish alja jafe. Suhe aivabe u domozio ova vutafe dine gujio ova yushlustafe. Tsibi liskusho ulo sa idwea api. Ato liskushwosh poli, cha'a shuvwada jengalaga, lo poli, lekugi hadzeshi leato dash liskusho paya. Se, dine gobitoya jideva ise sekugyahu shuvwa hlotashashyaja. So that's it. I'm passing it on to Jake. Makes more sense.